Hi, Diane. Welcome, welcome. All right, we're getting started on the travel coaching funnel here. We just started with the very first slide. This is the overall graphic. You will find this in the membership club, and we're going to break down each level of these here. So starting with awareness and visibility that attracts your ideal clients. So you want to ask yourself some of these questions. What is your core message? So remember, awareness and visibility is essential to any sort of business because it's how you're going to get your message out there. It tells your ideal clients what you're all about. What is your branding? What do you represent? Who do you help? How do you help people? So you want to spread awareness about what it is that you do. And then visibility is how do you go about doing that? Where do you show up? How do you show up? So your core message is a key component to that. What is that message that you want your ideal clients? Remember, you're always speaking to your ideal clients that you want your ideal clients to know. What is it that you believe so deeply about travel that you want your ideal clients to also believe that is possible for them? Who is your ideal client? Before you spread awareness and visibility, you have to know who is it for, because where you decide to show up, how you show up, and the message you put out there should all directly relate to your ideal client. So know who you're speaking to. And that's where your pain points come into play. You have to know what the pain points of your ideal clients are. I know it's not a pretty term, but your pain points really speak to align with exactly what your ideal clients are looking for. So why do they want to go on a trip? What type of experiences would best satisfy them? What type of destinations would best satisfy them? Because of why? Are they busy moms? Are they stressed in their work life? Know who they are on a human level so that you can speak directly to their needs, desires, and then that helps make better travel decisions. What kind of places to visit, what kind of experiences to have, what kind of activities to do, who maybe they need to travel with, maybe it's a solo journey. So what is it that you know about your ideal client? And then where are you showing up? Not only on social media platforms, but other ways to get visible. So social media is a great tool for showing up, especially in the world of travel, because travel is very visual. People scroll on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on video, Pinterest, Googling things about travel, places to go, things to do, packing lists, and more. So you also want to show up where your ideal clients show up. In your business, you should be showing up on social platforms, anywhere between 2 to 4 social platforms. You don't want to make it overwhelming and too much to manage by doing too many platforms, but you don't want to show up in too little amount of platforms. If your ideal clients in the corporate world, they are busy executives, they are, moms, or people who are remote workers, LinkedIn would be a great platform for you to show up on. So play around with the different platforms. You might realize that one works more effectively for you and your business than another one does. A great way to learn that is ask your audience. So if anyone joins your email list or maybe a program or reaches out to you, ask them, how did you hear about me? And you'll start getting an idea of what's working for you. And therefore, you know how to best spend more time and effort as well as potentially money. Hi, Yvette.
Hello. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to put you on mute
Sorry,
here.
sorry, a bit late.
You're okay. We're just diving into the first module or the first slide here on awareness and visibility. This is being recorded, so you can always go back and rewatch from the beginning, but we're just in the beginning here.
Yes.
So starting with the funnel here, we're at awareness and visibility. So I was talking about where to show up. So what type of platforms are you on? And then also I'm a big fan of media publicity. So maybe guest blogging on other blogs. Maybe it's writing an article or being mentioned in articles and publications. Maybe it's being on a podcast, audio, videos. These are all very These are very effective tools to spread your message on a grander scale. What you want to do though is you want to make sure you're showing up in the right places. So again, in the beginning of your business, part of building a foundation is understanding where your ideal clients, what I say, hang out. Where do they read? Where do they spend time? What do they listen to? That's why that second point, or this second point here on who your ideal client is really essential, because you need to know what they're all about in order to know where to show up. You don't want to only show up on publications or podcasts or outlets or maybe organizations or associations only related to travel. If anything, you want to do some of the opposite, because those worlds are already saturated. What you want to do is, when you know who your ideal client is, let's say they are overworked moms who are in the corporate world and need time on a solo adventure, or time to spend a trip to spend more quality time with their child. So maybe that you go to parenting publications and blogs. Maybe there's an association or a community or membership club that offers guest speaking roles, and they cater to corporate women in the corporate world. So the more you know about your ideal client, the more options you have on knowing where to show up and how to show up. Because the point about awareness and visibility is, what message are you putting out there, and who is it for, and how are you reaching them? So all of this ties into your marketing plan. But you can't create a marketing plan and just say, I'm going to show up and create content on social media, or I'm going to, write an article for Condé Nast Traveler because it's a great travel publication. If that doesn't suit your ideal clients, don't do it. You have to be very specific on what is your core message and who are your ideal clients. And then you can figure out how to show up and where to show up. And then what type of content are you posting? So knowing your ideal clients and their pain points, and then knowing what your brand and your mission's all about, there's a wide range of content that you can post. Inspirational post, motivational content, educational content, and then lastly, salesy content. So how can you motivate your ideal clients? So maybe it's getting them to take a step closer to getting out of their comfort zone and booking that trip finally. Or maybe it's inspirational content. You do that with your story. How can your personal travel story and life story inspire your ideal client? Educational content. What is there that you can educate them on? Maybe you believe in why they should go to tropical locations or immerse in other cultures. Why? Can you find studies, research, proof of any of this that you can share and help paint that picture for them so that they can better understand, okay, maybe that experience is what I need, because that is what, I'm looking for. I'm looking for this clarity. I'm looking for this human connection. I'm looking for time away from my busy life or all my responsibilities at home. But you have to know about what your ideal client wants, needs, and desires first. Then you can go and post. Because what we see on social media is, when it comes to travel and marketing, it's a very saturated industry. You'll see beautiful beaches. You'll see book now, go here. You should travel to this destination. That's all very surface level. In order to have effective marketing, you have to be spread awareness and visibility in a strategic way. And this makes the whole concept of attracting your ideal clients easier than chasing them. You don't have to go and find them all the time. When you're putting proper content out there and messaging out there in the right places, they'll find you. And then you want to capture them. Think about what value are you providing to your audience, your ideal client. When you put out social media posts, blog posts, wherever it is that you get visible and spread your awareness, what value are you providing them with? How do you want to make them feel? And what do you want to be known for in your business? Again, that goes back to your core message. What is it you truly want to do in your business? Who do you want to really help, and how? Why should they care about travel? And what problem are you solving for them? And that goes to the pain points of your ideal clients. What are they in need of? What do they want most? Maybe they want to live a life of a sense of freedom and happiness. Okay, well, how can travel help them with that? If that's what you truly believe in, how do you get them there? What are the steps they need to take? Pre, during, and post trip. So these are some essential questions to ask yourself when it comes to spreading awareness and getting visible in your business. And then the next step down is effective questioning to get to know your clients, plus the pre-trip assessment. So what questions are you using to get to know your clients? Create a pre-trip assessment to help with this. So some examples are, and I'm going to read some example questions, but I have added this Word doc of a long list of these questions and more to the membership club for you in this module. So in the resource section, in the resource section. So go to the resource section after this training and you will find the examples of travel coaching questions to use in your sessions. But some examples of questions would be, what would you like to get out of our time together? What intention would you like to set for our time together? What events or feelings led you to want to go on this trip? Can you describe your current situation in detail? And what are the main challenges and obstacles that you are facing right now? What specific actions, habits, or external factors or circumstances do you think are influencing you and holding you back from moving forward with taking action on going on this trip and making this change in your life? What do you love most about the idea of going on this trip? What would be an inspiring goal for you to work towards before, during, and after this trip? Who is this trip calling you to be? What specifically do you want to accomplish during this trip? How do you want to feel? What fears, beliefs, thought patterns might be holding you back from making progress towards your goal? Are there any potential roadblocks or challenges that you anticipate facing along the way? What would be the first step that you could take right now to start making progress towards the goals that you have set for yourself? How could you rephrase that goal? So it depends only on what you do and not what others need to do. And lastly, what type of clarity or outcome are you looking for most out of this trip? So again, these are just some example questions. Feel free to use them, to tailor them, customize them. That PDF or the Word doc is in the resource section in the membership club for you. But these questions are really important for you to get to know your client beyond the basic traveler preferences, beyond their past travel decisions that they have made. Because every time we go on a trip, we're a different person. We're at a different place in our life, relationship, work life, personal life, mindset, well-being, and more. So we're always looking for something different out of every travel experience. So you have to meet the needs of your ideal clients, but you have to get to know them first on a human, more deeper personal level. So creating some sort of pre-trip assessment can be really effective for that. The next layer down is planning and empowerment. Integrate travel coaching into the planning process. What are your clients' needs and desires? You want to tie their emotions and their needs to the destination and the experiences suggested. So what we've been seeing in the travel industry for the past decades, maybe centuries, is that we're telling people where they should go. You know, visit New York City, look how great it is with the nightlife. Visit Bali because look at how beautiful the beaches are. Visit wherever it might be because of a certain attribute about that destination. And instead, what we want to do is, and what we're seeing in research is that people are choosing the experiences that they want So what are the needs? What are they looking for out of this trip? And then they're choosing the destinations and the activities to do. So you want to understand your ideal client's emotions first and their needs and desires and their goals, and then figure out what kind of destination, what kind of overall experience would really satisfy and work well for them, because it satisfies what their needs are. And that is where you as the travel expert comes into play. You have to know, well, what is it that I could educate them on? What is it do I need to know about a destination or a travel experience that can help me better suggest or recommend or guide them towards a certain type of experience or destination? So that's up to you and what you focus in as a travel coach and what your ideal clients are looking for. So maybe you want to study upon the power of blue and green spaces. So instead of saying, hey, this white sandy beach looks beautiful, doesn't it? Well, why should they visit a beach? Okay, tap into the power of blue spaces. How that it maybe lowers stress and anxiety levels. Maybe they are someone who has been dealing with a hectic work life and they need to disconnect for a little bit. Well, why could the beach really benefit them? Okay, you will believe in cultural immersion and really diving into another culture, getting out of your comfort zone. Well, why? How can that actually benefit someone, your ideal client? If you know what they're looking for and they're really truly in need of, why would a cultural immersion experience be something that would satisfy them? And what would be a great destination or place or experience that would suit them best? As you create the itinerary, explain the reasoning behind certain choices that you make, such as suggesting specific activities. So instead of saying, oh, this destination has great hiking and water sports and biking, okay, well, why should your ideal client care about that? Are they someone who is really into their boosting their mental well-being and staying active and fit? So maybe that's why hiking someplace with beautiful hikes with beautiful viewpoints would be great for them. Maybe you'd recommend that they walk around a city and explore, and they maybe are into art and they can see the street art while also getting in some steps for the day instead of taking a taxi from place to place to place. So in order to really craft a hyper-personalized experience for someone, you have to know what they truly are looking for first and what they're all about as a person. What is their life like? What do they dream about? It's important to keep your client involved in the planning process as well, as it shows to have many benefits to their overall experience. There was a study, or there's a report by the Journal Quality Research of Life said that the highest spike in happiness comes during the planning phase of a vacation. So it shows that people want to be involved. It's that anticipation of going on this trip that can extend the longevity of the happiness and the satisfaction of the trip. So instead of taking control over a client's itinerary, entire plan, I understand that you want to make things easier and stress-free for them. You can do that to a certain degree, but what can you assign them to do? How can they still be involved? What kind of exercises can you give them? How can they keep up that excitement? Because remember, we don't go on a trip just to go on a vacation. We're looking for this vacation to do something for us. So maybe it's just giving them an assignment to do some self-reflection pre-trip. Maybe if they're going with their family on a trip, it's really getting to know and spend time and talk about, what kind of experiences are we really looking for as a family? What does each child want out of this trip? So how can you keep your clients involved? Incorporate travel coaching by recommending maybe things like mindfulness practices, journaling, or other self-discovery techniques that can enhance their overall travel experience. We as travel experts, we know that traveling, we learn a lot. There's a lot of potential for personal growth and personal discovery, or personal development and self-discovery. but we're missing a big opportunity to tap into that and really utilize that if we're not aware of that. We're not aware of what we're learning. We're not tracking what's happening, what are we experiencing, and then figuring out how can we apply that to who we are as a person, or our life when we come back home, or maybe our relationship. Whatever it is that we're in need of, how can what we're learning and experiencing during a trip really help us mold and shape who we are and the life we're really looking for? Because that's what we're really why we really go on a trip in the first place. If we have a hectic, busy lifestyle and we just need to disconnect, well, what are we really looking for? We're really looking for a time to just have to ourselves, to feel satisfied finally, to feel a sense of freedom, to be ourselves, to not feel responsible for someone else's maybe tasks or and how can travel do that for us, and how can we apply that to when we get back to the trip? So helping your client work through these. So think of some sort of practices, exercises, journaling, different types of techniques that you can maybe assign them to during their trip as well, so they can start documenting some of this. Maybe offer stress reduction techniques like packing tips for staying organized, or relaxation exercises for managing travel-related anxiety. Provide travel coaching by sharing strategies for staying present and embracing the journey, even during potential challenges. We know sometimes as travel experts, those moments of running into a problem or things not going perfectly are the greatest moments of growth and clarity that we can get. We learn our strengths more. We learn our weaknesses. We learn what we're good at, what we're not good at. We learn more about who we're traveling with. Maybe it's our partner, a friend. So how can we really be mindful of all that's happening during a trip? How can you help your clients stay present? Have your clients write down their intentions for the trip and what they want to get out of the trip by the end of it. So again, travel coaching is all about setting intentions for their trip. So not just going on a trip just to have a vacation, but what are we really looking for out of this? How do we want to feel? How do we feel pre? What do we feel during? How do we want to feel after? What do we want our life to look like? What do we want our mindset to look like? Maybe it's our well-being. Again, whatever pain points your ideal clients are touching on, how can this trip address or satisfy them? The next step down is the during trip phase and accountability. Assisting with itinerary adjustments and last minute changes or flight issues is usual for someone like a travel agent or advisor, but there's so much more to consider during the trip phase when you're a travel coach. So starting with the traveler's mindset, going on that trip, especially if it's a solo adventure, isn't always easy. Just because your traveler has the trip booked and their itinerary planned out of what to do, they may still be experiencing fears, anxieties, worries, or limiting beliefs. Although you have worked with your clients on their mindset before the trip, they may need added support and continued support during the trip. There are various things that you can do as a travel coach to help with that. That could look like assigning mindset exercises or having them practice maybe meditation or yoga during their trip. Documenting it with journaling is another great way to help them release their emotions and analyze how they're truly feeling. Maybe there's check-ins that you do with them, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, monthly, depending on the length of the trip. That's up to you to figure out that structure and what support your client needs. Accountability. Holding your clients accountable for their goals that you have set in the pre-trip phase is important. How will you hold your client accountable for the intentions and the goals that they've set in that pre-phase? So you've already established that they are looking to get out of their comfort zone, to meet new people, to really find what happiness looks like to them, to feel a sense of fulfillment. Okay, they've set those intentions. How do you hold them accountable? so that they're not sticking to maybe a strict itinerary? What are the things that they shouldn't be doing? Don't only be mindful of what your client should be doing, but what should they not be doing? Maybe they're on a solo adventure and they're sticking to themselves, but they're really missing an opportunity to connect with others. Maybe it's travelers in the hotel lobby or on the plane. You know, maybe you're giving them an assignment to talk to at least 5 new people a day. Then there's communication and support. That's where having a stream of communication and support for your client is important. That could be maybe access to Voxer or WhatsApp, maybe email, maybe a Facebook group or community or another type of community that you can include them in, so they can get ongoing support from not only you maybe, but also other travelers that you've worked with. And then documentation. Having your client document what they're experiencing and learning is a great way to help them during the post-trip phase of applying how their trip was impacted their life and how it can maybe impact their life when they return. Consider assigning a task like blogging or journaling, creating videos, posting on social media, or another way to document their journey. And then lastly, we have the reflection and the application phase. As a passionate traveler, you know how much someone can learn and realize from having a transformative travel experience, but not everyone knows how to apply that and apply what they've learned and they've experienced to their personal life or their work life or their maybe their relationship, whatever it is that the type of trip that they're intending to have. This phase will teach you how to help your clients implement what they've learned and experienced during the trip upon return, so that their trip can be used to help them reach their initial goals and satisfy their initial needs that they set from the very beginning. So reflection is key. Have your clients reflect on the travel experience. Some example questions that you can ask in your post-trip assessment would be things like, what are 5 things that you've learned during your trip? What are 5 things that you realized during your trip? How could your trip have been better? How did you feel about taking that trip? What was your high point and a low point during your trip? If you could have changed one thing about your experience, what would have it had been? What is something that you feel now that you didn't feel before your trip? Did you have an aha moment of some sort during your trip? Now that your trip is over, how are you feeling? Where's your mindset? What new goals do you have moving forward now that you've had this type of experience? What would your next trip look like? And what would you want it to do for you? How can you apply what you've learned to better yourself and your life moving forward? Implementation and application. It's one thing to go on a trip and to have a great time, and it's another to take what you've learned and you've experienced and apply it to your life or work life upon return. This can be for your personal life, professional life, relationships, well-being, or another goal or intention that your client has set in the pre-trip phase. Implementation is a key step for travel coaches to help their clients with what they can help their clients with. Having either a post-trip assessment, some sort of evaluation available for your clients, or communicating with them one-on-one are 2 ways to have your clients analyze their true emotions, feelings, and thoughts about their trip. Gathering feedback and evaluating customer satisfaction. After the trip, travel coaches should always gather feedback from their customers to evaluate their satisfaction levels. This feedback helps identify areas of improvement and provides insights for enhancing future travel experiences. As a travel coach, having a post-trip assessment in place with your client better assesses their overall experience while helping you to assess your impact as a travel coach. So how did your services better the experience that your client had? If your client didn't work with you and maybe just worked with a travel agent or maybe just booked the trip on their own, how would their experience have been different in their terms? And then lastly, building long-term relationships through follow-ups and personalized recommendations. Travel coaches can foster long-term relationships with customers by staying in touch and offering personalized recommendations for future trips based off of what it is that you know about your clients, their needs and their goals in their life. So all of their pain points. This proactive approach demonstrates care and builds trust. You can build this trust and loyalty through check-ins with your clients or offering them a place to support, maybe like a community setting. You know, I covered a lot, but do we have any questions about anything that I just went over or any questions that came up during that training?